So I'm going to do something completely different today. There's something actually that's very interesting. So I'm actually not a programmer. I think a lot of people actually think that I am, but I'm not. I just understand APIs. I know a bit of front end. Like I can build my own websites, but if a developer was to look over them, they would probably laugh at how messy my code is. But I know enough to be able to like get by and construct my own like front end website, and I know like very minimal JavaScript. Like I play around with little things, but mainly I just know APIs. But the APIs, I'm not actually writing anything. It's just copying and pasting together different like code that other people have written. And it's also very funny that in like a lot of my videos, I get like a lot of comments saying like how genius this is, and like how like even like outright people messaging saying you're a genius, and I do not think so at all. There are really smart people who have like built these things, and with like even with Notifier, I have like developers who have built like really like complex back end systems out, and but because people aren't able to see like the code and they're not able to understand what the code is actually doing, um people don't appreciate it. And I think with like Integromat, because it's visual and people can sort of see what's happening and I'm sort of walking people through it, they like appreciate it a lot more. I know that there's like an element of creativity with like growth hacking that people really like as well, the fact that I've just like made up these flows, but that's just more like creativity. And I play around with like Node.js. This is what we're doing here. For anyone who doesn't know, Node.js is a like JavaScript framework. I could actually be wrong on that, but it sort of runs on top of JavaScript, and using the same like JavaScript syntax. And it means that you can have like back-end communication, and previously JavaScript was just like a front-end language. So it means that we can do things like scraping and things like that. And the reason that like Notifier is built entirely in Node.js, um, and the reason that I like it and choose to do it is because it's just a very like widely supportive language. Not that others aren't, but in terms of like APIs and things like that, it's just very good for building out like scalable things, scalable APIs. So a lot of platforms that I'm sure you use will actually um, be built in Node.js. So like here, I'm not actually building anything. I'm going to essentially document myself building things, and I think it's going to be quite boring for a lot of people. But this is sort of like the next stage that I would like to move things on from. Rather than like building on top of other people's systems, like PhantomBuster, like as a tool, I like it, and it functions well, but there's a million different ways that it can be improved, and um, they're just too sort of overwhelmed to do it. They have a very large user base, and they're actually like more trying to now cater towards like less technical people. They're like rebuilding out their entire platform, trying to make it more user friendly, which actually I think they haven't done a good job of. Like the UX still just really isn't very good. And they should instead be focusing on like improving the tools that they do have. Like that's just like my opinion. But anyways, there's a lot of different things that I don't like within PhantomBuster. There are a lot of things I do like, but there are just a lot of improvements that can be made. Like for example, the LinkedIn network booster. It takes about a minute to send a connection request, and really it can be done so much faster. And I think it's not in their interest to optimize this, because obviously you're paying for usage time. Like some friends of mine that we're working on another project with, they built their own tool for like a LinkedIn page liker, and it was able to log into an account and like a post on LinkedIn within about 4 seconds. And if you compare that to PhantomBuster, I think it takes closer to like 40, even longer. So now what I've decided to do is I would actually like to build out my own APIs, like with other people as well, um, just for tools that I want to use. So here, like we're building something. I'm just using like the template code here, and it's just something that goes and takes a screenshot. Currently, it's taking a screenshot of LinkedIn, but we can test it out on Notify.io. So without me ever having to visit the website, we can do node testing.js, run that script, and hmm. So this is going to be quite a fun journey. Um, there we go. So we now have a screenshot of Notify. Um, so yeah, like so the reason for doing is that I actually want to build out like my own tools because yeah, I just don't think PhantomBuster are doing a particularly like good job on a lot of things. I will still use it. I'm not going to like rebuild everything. Just there are a number of different things. Also, I spend over $1,000 per month on PhantomBuster tools, and a lot of them I could just build out myself and get them for like a fraction of the cost. So this is going to be, and like I'm happy like releasing these if people want them to be like publicly available to use them as well. That's not an issue. Um, I'm more than happy to do that. Uh, so we're just going to play like as I remember. This actually now opens a browser so you can see what's happening. So it's like on the previous way, it wasn't opening a browser and it's just happening via code, navigating to those pages. If I run the script now, hmm, puppeteer.launch. Wait. So yeah, like I'm not a developer at all, and but this is just like I love learning new things. So if we run this again, yeah, so it's now opened a browser and it's navigating to Notifier and it's taken a screenshot and then saved that. Um, and it saved that as this file here, but it hasn't come through correctly. I'm not sure why that is. It could have been because we didn't wait for the page to load. Anyway, so this is just going to be a lot of me like figuring out what to do. So because I understand what's happening here and everything that's going on. This is going to come in here. So this is like this first episode is just going to be me. I'm just going to pull this up. It's just going to be me like playing around. So we, like I said, we're using Node.js and we're also using a tool called Puppeteer, which I believe was actually made by Google. Interestingly enough, and okay, that's quite interesting. So it's nothing to do with this. If we launch with headless browser means that the browser actually opens, but if we launch without headless, sorry, if we launch with headless, sorry, headless is set to true. Getting better already. Maybe not. So it's just a constant case of going back to our puppeteer.launch. That's why. Okay. So yeah, it's just like it's going to be a very back and forward case of going back to documentation. But this is the case for like all programmers. It's just constantly like reviewing. Okay, so it works again. That's very strange. I'm sure that there'll be a reason for that. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to build a script. I'm going to try and make it super simple that will navigate we don't want a screenshot. And like the other, I don't know if this is actually, I'm sure it's not respected by coders at all, but I found like some open source code, so I'm just going to steal a little bit of, not, well, steal, yes, but more so to understand how he's managed to achieve something. So in this case, so I've just copied his code, and essentially what he's doing is setting the LinkedIn cookie, and he was setting it as a environment variable. I'm just going to set it manually. And just so I can see what's going on, I'm going to go back onto the headless version. Sorry, I'm going to turn off headless, and so we can actually see what's happening. So I doubt this is going to work. If it does, we should log directly into LinkedIn. It's open. Okay, that hasn't worked. Await browser close. So how do we change that? So we can actually add various different variables when we're launching the browser. So this is actually going to slow it down so I can see what's going on. So I've slowed it down a lot, and await page. Okay, so I think because I've copied his code, page set cookie. I think I actually need to write this out. So like luckily I've got a lot of very smart friends and developers where if I do run into any real issues, I can just reach out to them. Await page set cookie dot set. Does this need to be up above. Yes, maybe it needs to be before going to LinkedIn. Um, yeah, okay, we're logged in. Fuck, that was easy. Wow, wow. That is unbelievable. I was not expecting that to work at all. Like this is the one thing that I do really love about like coding and programming is that there's such a big there's so many like resources out there. There's so much documentation, like, and there's just insanely powerful tools. Like something like Puppeteer. Um, like if you wanted a tool like this and you were going to pay for like a software as a service company, it's going to be really expensive. If you teach yourself programming and set it up like this, it's completely free, and there's all of the documentation and um, and resources that you need online. So like it is if you are going to get serious about this, I think it is very good to just teach yourself programming. Okay, so let me just like think through this flow. I might actually make a little board. Um, so like what do we want to be able to navigate. Set cookie is now done. Navigate to user profile. Click connect button. Okay, so essentially, like I want to turn this into an API where we're actually able to submit data without needing to change it in here. And I have played around with building APIs before. That was a while ago. So I'm gonna build it like just manually now. Sorry, not manually. Sorry, without an API. I'm getting a lot of messages through. Um, so what I'm actually going to do is let's try and build. Okay, so let's try and build a automation. Let's find someone that we want to connect with. Okay, so for example, let's connect with this guy, Benjamin Reynolds. So we're going to put his URL in there. And so we want to do a we want to do click, but we don't want to do it by coordinates. Ah, there we go, page.click. I just saw that. So I'm just gonna make tea. It's gonna be a long night. There's a very cheap kettle in the background of my Airbnb. Constant link handlers. Um, okay, let's make one cup of tea because I'm British, and then figure out this next stage. So the way that the script will like work will be we're identifying a button, um, usually based on like CSS, which is what's used for building like front end of a website, like how everything looks. Everything has its like CSS class. So like a button is going to have a CSS class, and if we go ahead and inspect the CSS, essentially it will return us like a sort of ID, like a unique way of us identifying um, that button, and then like our script will be able to pick up that that's the button that we want to click. So I just need to understand how to implement that. Okay. So we're going to install a new library. So what we're doing here is, I think that's the command, is it? I can't remember. I spelled puppeteer wrong as well. Okay, so this is like the terminal, like the command line, and that's connected just to our folder here, like our project. So I can actually run commands, and that's now gone and installed a library from from this website actually that we can then install that we can now use. So this is making a call to that library. I hope I've done it correctly and not embarrassed myself, but yeah. So now we can actually copy this code. So that's what I mean. Like same way that I know like APIs are just essentially copying other people's other people's code. That is literally all they are. Um, and that's what I'm sort of doing here as well. Uh, okay, so as I was saying before, what we can do is we can inspect this element. This is actually its span text. Copy selector are they using? Shit. Let me just understand this. So they are using selectors. Um, is that div contains button? Let's come back to Stack Overflow. Okay, let's try this. Span contains connect with capital C. Let's try and run that. The thing with like code is it has to be sort of spot on. Like if there's like the tiniest thing wrong, it's not going to work. Like if you miss like a semicolon or something, it doesn't work. So that found it. Wow, this is easy. Um, wow. So now it actually pressed the first button. I hope that you saw that. And we can then send our next. We want both of this. I believe that's now going to have a close. I could be completely wrong about that. This just shows my knowledge of JavaScript. Okay, let's run it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll try the other way. Node testing.js. Constant. Okay, so let's change this to invitation, element invitation. I'm probably doing like I don't even know. Obviously, this code is going to be really messy, and hopefully, if there's someone out there watching this who knows programming better than I do, which isn't that hard, they can actually give me some feedback. Get elements. Ah, okay, sorry, yeah. Get connect, get invitation. That is working. So now it needs to press connect. Okay, we have something. So I think what I've done is that shouldn't be there. I can't remember why, but I'm pretty sure I have learnt that before. So let's start again. I think this is going to throw an error as well. I can't believe I've got it to log in that quickly. This is amazing. Okay, so we have an issue here. It's something to do with it's something to do with this. I need to separate this off somehow. Do I? No. Okay, so let me. No one else is. Let me see how that other guy was doing it. So he's sent them over all at once. Expand button selectors. Okay. So this is where like my lack of knowledge in basic JavaScript really lets me down, because I'm sure that this will be something really simple. Is something to do with my structure. So like the thing to do is, like I said, there's so much. Let's see if we can find like an Instagram bot, and like this is just purely for the purpose of trying to pull some of their code. Um, this guy's built an Instagram bot, so let's see how. Like the issue that we have currently is clicking twice on one page. So await this. Okay, so I found it very quickly. I think. Okay, so he's structured it slightly different. Um, okay, let's get rid of that. Let's try and structure it slightly differently. So I can't remember what the purpose of an asynchronous function is. Await this dot page, click, and does he set this somewhere? Uh, what is this doing? It's a terrible Google search. Um, okay, yeah, so that is the right format. Um, so has he made something called config? Yeah, he has. This. Okay. And I'm not sure what they're doing. Selector. potentially. And someone here has recommended to add a delay, but then he's been downvoted 41 times, so we won't do that. Okay, actually, we will add a little delay after. So we'll wait for 2 seconds, and then we need to get the next ID. Shit, I got the wrong first one. Okay, so then we need this ID. Copy selector. 2674. I wonder if that's dynamically generated. All right, let's find out. No testing dot. Fuck. What's the format over here? So my hashtag was an unexpected token. Click. What's that? Click. Let's try removing my hashtags. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Cannot read property click of undefined. Okay, I'm going to try a few formatting things, but if I'm honest, I don't know what the issue is here. I can see it's not right, but I don't know why. No testing. Okay. So like that guide's not really helpful because it doesn't really say everything that's going on. So let me go back to Puppeteer documentation, the first one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Click selector. So okay, let's just go back to trying. Let's go back to trying to get the first item clicked. We don't need the options. So let's come back to trying to copy selector. That's pretty stupid. And does it have to be wrapped? Okay. All right. Let's give it a try. The best thing to do would be to pull in if I can't figure something out. Like I have got developers, like friends of mine, that I can just ask, but the best way for me for learning is to actually, yeah, to try and figure it out yourself. We've got a LinkedIn bot here. They leave the hashtag in. So we should probably do the same. So let's try that again. We're unable to leave a hashtag in, but in his code, that I was just looking at, was I doing that? I just lost that somehow. Does that use Puppeteer? Okay, so he was using this guy's going to see that we've viewed his profile about 100 times. Mm. So this is like the way it really should be, of like a little side project. This is something like completely new to me, so I'm just interested in learning about it. Um, and you don't need to spend a huge why hasn't that clicked? You don't need to spend a huge amount of time on something to actually make some progress. Um, Puppeteer select. Um, so instead, we'll go back to that old method. So he had quite a few clicks. So can we just add a class in there? From what I understand, we need a selector, but I can't figure it out for now, so there's no harm in trying. Okay, same issue. Well, let's try on a button. Let's take copy selector. ID is Ember 70. Let's go back and add a little delay in. Where is that one line of code? Plus that GitHub thing. just had a little delay in it. No testing.js. Boom, got it to work. Great. So rather than, that was purely because it didn't like, either I'm missing something or it just didn't like span. But I could be wrong, and I may not have learnt my lesson on that one. But okay, that's really cool. So now we can actually click connect. I'm not going to do it just yet. Like, I'm going to leave it for today. Like, if I manage to build this to be able to send a connection request today, I'm going to be super happy. So I'm just going to focus on that. But like tomorrow, maybe we can come back and from what it looks like, it's not too hard just to get it to select an input and add a message in, which is really cool. If this works, I am going to be so happy. Okay. Please, please, please. Waiting 2 seconds. Okay, that second part hasn't worked. Of course it wouldn't. That would be too easy. Okay. Unhandled Promise. That's the same error that we had last time, and I know it's something to do with this. I can't even remember what the name of this is. This this is exactly what I meant earlier about any developers who watch this are just going to be laughing at me. Just throwing in random things that get returned from the console and hoping for the best. Well, it fired up. If this works, I will laugh so much. First one sent. Okay, we've got the same issue. I think I'm. Wait 2 seconds. Okay, so let's inspect here. It's basically saying that it can't find that element, and that makes sense because over here, copy selector. Shit. Over here, it's got a different ID, so that is sort of either I've copied something wrong, or I don't think that was needed to be there at all. Okay, let's see if this works. Testing.js. Benjamin's probably thinking, what the hell's going on? When he's seen we've viewed his profile probably 100 times now. Fucking hell, it's worked. Oh my god. That's really cool. I'm really happy with that. We've managed to send a connection request using code. So now what I'll do is I'll turn this off. Puppeteer launch. We'll just whack that onto true. And so you know how long it takes. This is exactly what I'm saying. This has been running in slow motion as well, and we've got delays in there. So let me just change. Actually, this is going to be the other test. Is does it work on other profiles? So let's if this guy has different IDs here, I'm going to be so annoyed. Okay. So this has actually been running in slow motion. False. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, he's got the same IDs. He's got the same ID on the first one. On send invitation. Okay. Okay, on send invitation. So that actually changes. So am I able to just be a little bit cheeky? use that as a second thing. Let's try that out. Okay, never mind. Page click. Like PhantomBuster actually have all of their I'm pretty sure all of or a lot of their scripts are open source. Not anymore, maybe. Authenticate text. And also what I'm doing here with these little lines is it essentially means it just like comments your code. So rather than me like deleting it and then I find out like shit, I actually need that in future. It means that that I can just uncomment it. So currently that code isn't running, but if I ever need it again, if I do now, it means that I can just uncomment it and it will run again. Send invitation. Come on. It's worked. That is insane. So we've now sent two connection requests with our script. I genuinely was not expecting to get that far at all. I thought this was going to be a really boring video where nothing happened. This is, I'm really happy. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. This was really productive. Like we've only written, in fact, we've not written, we've copied and pasted about 10 lines of code, but that is really, really cool. So just going forward, what I'll use this for is first off, rather than paying PhantomBuster $1,000 per month, I can host this myself at a fraction of the cost, and I'll just be saving like $12,000 per year. On top of that, PhantomBuster don't support proxies. Sorry, my friend's calling me. PhantomBuster don't support proxies, and they do, but not very well. In fact, really badly. Like they're system for adding proxies to an account is just ridiculous. It's so bad to the point that I have to like pay more money and have 132 different phantoms, when really I could just have like 10 if they supported dynamic proxies, so I could link a proxy to it to an individual account. But because I haven't got a structure like that, it means I have to set up 132 different phantoms. So I can solve that issue in this exactly what I'm going to do here. There's just going to be one script running, but I can send over the proxy every time in my API request, and it will just work. Like it will be associated to that account, so I don't need to have this script running like 132 different times like I do in PhantomBuster. So that is one like really just an annoying thing for me, that this is going to solve. Like also I have the just complete flexibility like over everything that happens. And obviously, I get so many requests of people asking for me to like build things for them without even intentionally doing so. I first started making like my YouTube videos just because it like I have my own software companies, and this is just something that I'm interested in and do within my companies. Um, and like if anything, like it was just something that I was interested in, and I knew that it would attract like an audience of sort of similar people interested in similar things, which is cool. Um, but now, now it's sort of we've now got like a thousand, almost 1,200 subscribers, which I'm really, really thankful for. Um, Now that may sound like a small number, particularly if we're looking at like a growth hacker, but I'm not really in YouTube for attracting big subscriber counts. I don't add tags to a lot of videos. I don't optimize my descriptions. Like, it's not written for growth. This is just a little hobby of mine. But the people that are like watching and following my videos, there's some really really smart people, which I like. You know, for me, it's much more about the quality of the audience watching my videos, like rather than I don't know, someone who just had like a load of like young kids, like I forget the name, like Jake Paul or whatever it's like. It's just a guy who just goes around making like stupid videos on YouTube, and it's just like young girls and young boys like watching things. I would never be interested in being like having an audience or something like that. Whereas with this, I've met some really interesting people through YouTube. People have flown out to come and visit me, and we spent days like hacking together, putting little sequences together, and I've like tried to teach them as much stuff as I can. I've met two co-founders through my YouTube videos. So like I really like appreciate the sort of support and the people that come and watch my videos. I really do. This was just something that I started off with for fun, and now I've got people who, who are almost like telling me off in a way for not having an agency, like for not offering this as a service. Like, I have people chase me up on emails who I like who I think they don't fully realize this isn't actually my job. This is just something that I put LinkedIn automations together to grow my other companies. I don't actually make these automations on like a freelance basis or anything like that. Like I do, but it's not what I'm focused on. And they're sort of saying why can't you build this for me? And it's so now, like, it is sort of changing a little bit, and I keep saying I'm thinking of opening up like an automation agency for doing things like this, and maybe it will happen. So like, I could actually turn this thing that I'm building now into a service. The same, literally all I'm building is LinkedIn Network Booster, just without the bullshit, like the things I don't like Phantom Buster dashboards. I mean, like this just. I don't know. I just don't think it. like I don't use the PhantomBuster dashboard at all. I build automations on top of their APIs, but their APIs have terrible documentation as well. Um, and yet, like they have a really popular platform, and I think that we could build something much better than this if we actually built like an Integromat plugin or something with all of these types of automations, so you didn't have to set up any API requests. Everything was just chained together really easily. Maybe that would be like a good idea. But anyway, yeah, if you've been watching me just ranting on for like 40 minutes, I do I really appreciate the support on my YouTube channel. Um, and like obviously because I'm just a small YouTuber, I know a lot of the people who really support me. I know them on like a first name basis, and like I recognize everyone commenting. So yeah, like just genuinely thank you for the support. I'll put out. I found this like really interesting today. I'm really obsessed with like learning new things, and usually you're just watching me put like just doing things that I know how to do already, just making like automations, and like it's all things that I've done before and I sort of know how to do it. Whereas this is something completely new for me as well. So it's going to be like a learning process. But I'm genuinely thrilled. Like, I love the feeling of accomplishing something. We've now got a script that can log in to your account, that can send a connection request to any profile that you add in here. And I think tomorrow we'll come back and add in like a message sender, and yeah, let's we can add some more things in. Like I would love to turn this into like an API as well, where you can just fire over things. There's like Lambda, if anyone knows this, like AWS Lambda, they can sort of host your script, and we can get it to run from there. So that's actually how the two guys are building Linked Boost. That is how they're like running things. They're using Lambda, so it's very cheap. Um, but yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've really enjoyed building this, and I'll definitely be back with like the follow-up part. Um, yeah, have a great day. Thank you for watching.